Welcome to Bright Videos. Today we were concluding our series of the best game of our generation and bring you to our topic, 20 most popular video games of all time. Let's have a look at the wonderful games. Number 20. Pacman. Pacman gets the 20 spot because it's an ancient arcade game that everyone played at least once at the local roller rink before it closed down for good like 15 years ago. The classic and enormously popular Pac-Man video game came out in Japan on May 21, 1980, and by October of that year, it was released in the United States. The yellow, pie-shaped Pac-Man character, who travels around a maze trying to eat dots and avoid hunting ghosts, quickly became an icon of the 1980s. Number 19. Tetris. Tetris is a tile-matching puzzle video game originally designed and programmed by Soviet-Russian software engineer Alexei Pajitnov in 1984 for the Electronika 60. The game has been published by several companies over time, most prominently during a war for the appropriation of the game's rights in the late 1980s. Built on simple rules and requiring intelligence and skill, Tetris has established itself as one of the great early video games titles. Since its creation, Tetris has sold 202 million copies, approximately 70 million physical units, and 132 million paid mobile game downloads as of December 2011, making it one of the best-selling video game franchises of all time. The Game Boy version in particular is one of the best-selling single titles of all time, with over 35 million copies sold. The game is available on over 65 platforms, setting a Guinness World Record for the most ported video game title. Number 18. Wii Sports. Wii Sports is a 2006 sports video game developed and published by Nintendo for the Wii video game console, making it the first sports game included with the launch of a Nintendo system since Mario's Tennis for the Virtual Boy in 1995. The game is a collection of 5 sports simulations designed to demonstrate the motion sensing capabilities of the Wii remote. The 5 sports included are tennis, baseball, bowling, golf and boxing. Players use the Wii remote to mimic actions performed in real-life sports. Wii Sports was well received by critics and received a number of awards. Selling over 82 million copies by the end of 2017, it is the best-selling single-platform game of all time and third best overall. The game has become a popular means for social gatherings and competitions among players of varying ages. A sequel, Wii Sports Resort, was released in 2009, while a high-definition remake, Wii Sports Club, was released in 2013 for the Wii U. Number 17. Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog is a Japanese video game series and media franchise created and owned by Sega. The first Sonic game, released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis, was developed after Sega requested a mascot character to compete with Nintendo's mascot Mario. The franchise follows Sonic, an anthropomorphic blue hedgehog who battles the evil Dr. Eggman, a mad scientist. The main Sonic the Hedgehog games are platformers mostly developed by Sonic Team. Other games, developed by various studios, include spin-offs in the racing, fighting, party and sports genres. The franchise also incorporates printed media, animations, a 2020 feature film, and merchandise. Sonic the Hedgehog is Sega's flagship franchise and one of the best-selling video game franchises, grossing over $5 billion by 2014 and selling $140 million by 2016. Series sales and free-to-play mobile game downloads totaled $920 million by 2019. The Genesis Sonic games have been described as representative of the culture of the 1990s and listed among the greatest of all time. Number 16. The Sims. The Sims is a series of life simulation video games developed by Maxis and published by Electronic Arts. The franchise has sold nearly 200 million copies worldwide, and it is one of the best-selling video game series of all time. The Sims was the first game in the series. Developed by Maxis and published by Electronic Arts, it was released for Microsoft Windows on February 4, 2000. By March 22, 2002, The Sims had sold more than 6.3 million copies worldwide, surpassing Myst as the best-selling PC game in history at the time. It can be a fun game, and it has serious appeal outside of your typical gamer base. Number 15. Diablo 3. It is a hack-and-slash action role-playing game developed and published by Blizzard Entertainment as the third installment in the Diablo franchise. It was released for Microsoft Windows and OS X in May 2012, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in September 2013, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in August 2014, and the Nintendo Switch in November 2018. Players choose to play as one of 7 character classes: Barbarian, Crusader, Demon Hunter, Monk, Necromancer, Witch Doctor, or Wizard, and are tasked with defeating the Lord of Terror, Diablo. As in previous games in the series, the Rise of the Necromancer pack was released for the Windows, Mac OS, and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in June 2017. The game set a new record for fastest-selling PC game by selling over 3.5 million copies in the first 24 hours of its release, and became the best-selling PC game of 2012 by selling over 12 million copies. As of August 2015, the number of sales had grown to over 30 million. Did you heard this sound before? Yes, it is. Number 14. Super Mario Bros. It is, also called SMB, is a Nintendo Entertainment System video game released in 1985 by Nintendo. The game, designed by Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka, has become one of the most important and successful video games of all time. Super Mario Bros. is frequently cited as one of the greatest video games of all time, with praise on its precise controls. It is one of the best-selling games of all time, with more than 40 million physical copies. It is credited alongside the NES as one of the key factors in reviving the video game industry after the 1983 crash, and helped popularize the side-scrolling platform game genre. Number 13. Super Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros., known in Japan as Darren Smash Bros. It is a series of crossover fighting games published by Nintendo, featuring characters from franchises established on Nintendo systems. The series had a successful start in 1999, with the game Super Smash Bros. Released on the Nintendo 64. It was released worldwide after selling over 1 million copies in Japan. It achieved even greater success with Super Smash Bros. Melee, released in 2001 for the Nintendo GameCube, becoming the best-selling game on that system. The third installment, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, was released on the Wii on January 31, 2008 in Japan, and was released on March 9, 2008 in North America. The fourth and fifth installments were Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Wii U for Nintendo 3DS was released on October 3, 2014. And for Wii U was released on November 21, 2014. The series features many characters from Nintendo's most popular franchises, including Super Mario, Donkey Kong, The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Star Fox, Kirby, Yoshi and Pacman. Number 12. Pacman. Pacman is a series of video games developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo and the Pacman Company as part of the Pacman Media franchise. What a franchise! If we had to pick the generation, we would say red and blue, and yellow if you want to be all-inclusive. The new games are great, but you can't top the fever behind the first generation release. The first games released in 1996 in Japan for the Game Boy, and the main series of role-playing video games, RPGs, also referred as the Core series by their developers, have continued on each generation of Nintendo's handhelds, including spin-offs. As of November 24, 2017, more than 300 million Pacman games have been sold worldwide on handheld and home consoles, across 76 titles. This makes Pacman the second best-selling video game franchise, behind Nintendo's own Mario franchise. In addition, Pacman is the world's largest media franchise, with successful anime series, movies, and merchandise, with spin-off game Pacman Go having crossed 1 billion mobile game downloads worldwide. Number 11. The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda games feature a mixture of puzzles, action, adventure, battle gameplay, and exploration. This franchise, created by Japanese game designers Shigeru Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka. It is primarily developed and published by Nintendo, although some portable installments and re-releases have been outsourced to Capcom, Vanpool, and Grezzo. The gameplay incorporates action-adventure and elements of action RPG games. The series centers on various incarnations of Link, the player character and chief protagonist. Link is often given the task of rescuing Princess Zelda and the Kingdom of Hyrule from Ganon, an evil warlord turned demon who is the principal antagonist of the series. Since the original Legend of Zelda was released in 1986, the series has expanded to include 19 entries on all of Nintendo's major game consoles, as well as a number of spin-offs. An American animated TV series based on the games aired in 1989, and individual manga adaptations commissioned by Nintendo have been produced in Japan since 1997. The Legend of Zelda is one of Nintendo's most prominent and successful franchises. Several of its entries are considered to be among the greatest video games of all time. Number 10. Metal Gear. This is a franchise that kind of doesn't need to be on this list, but also kind of does. It bridged the console gap for a long time. Even if you never played it, you knew about it, you heard about it. Plus, Snake is in SSB. It is a series of action-adventure stealth video games created by Hideo Kojima and developed and published by Konami. The first game, Metal Gear, was released in 1987 for MSX home computers. The player often takes control of a special forces operative, usually Solid Snake or Big Boss, who is assigned the task of finding the titular superweapon Metal Gear, a bipedal walking tank with the ability to launch nuclear weapons. Several sequels have been released for multiple consoles, which have expanded the original game's plot, adding characters opposing and supporting Snake, while there have also been a few prequels exploring the origins of Metal Gear and recurring characters. The third game in the series, Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation, marked the beginning of a whole new line of 3D for Metal Gear. As of September 2019, over 55 million copies of games in the franchise have been sold worldwide, with individual installments critically and commercially acclaimed and receiving several awards. The series is credited for pioneering and popularizing stealth video games and cinematic video games. Notable traits of the series include stealth mechanics, cinematic cutscenes, intricate storylines, offbeat and fourth-wall humor, and exploration of cyberpunk, dystopian, political and philosophical themes, with references to Hollywood films to add flavor. The franchise has also been adapted into other media, such as comics, novels, and drama CDs. Solid Snake also appeared as a guest character in Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 9. Halo. Halo is a military science fiction media franchise centered on a series of video games managed and developed by 343 Industries, a division of Xbox Game Studios. Halo was originally created and developed by Bungie. The series centers on an interstellar war between humanity and an alliance of aliens known as the Covenant. The term Halo refers to the Halo Array, a group of immense habitable, ring-shaped superweapons that were created by the Forerunners to destroy the Flood, but which the Covenant mistake for religious artifacts that, if activated, would transport them on a great journey to meet the Forerunners. The central focus of the franchise builds off the experiences of Master Chief John 117, one of a group of super soldiers codenamed Spartans, and his artificial intelligence, AI, companion, Cortana. Other characters, such as Noble Six from Halo Reach, are also introduced in the series. The games have sold over 65 million copies worldwide, with the games alone grossing almost $3.4 billion. Halo has since become one of the highest-grossing media franchises of all time and one of the highest-grossing video game franchises. A high-definition remake of the first game, entitled Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, was released on November 15, 2011, 10 years after the release of the original. A new installment in a second series of games, Halo 4, was released on November 6, 2012. Halo: The Master Chief Collection, a remastered compilation of the 4 primary Halo titles, was released for the Xbox One on November 11, 2014. In October 2015, Halo 5: Guardians was released. In February 2017, Halo Wars 2 was released. The next main installment of the Halo series is Halo Infinite, due for release in 2020. Number 8. Final Fantasy. It is a Japanese science fantasy media franchise created by Hironobu Sakaguchi and developed and owned by Square Enix, formerly Square. The franchise centers on a series of fantasy and science fantasy role-playing video games. The first game in the series was released in 1987, with 14 other main numbered entries being released since then. The franchise has since branched into other video game genres, such as tactical role-playing, action role-playing, massively multiplayer online role-playing, racing, third-person shooter, fighting, and rhythm, as well as branching into other media, including CGI films, anime, manga, and novels. Final Fantasy is one of the highest-grossing video game franchises of all time, having grossed $10.9 billion in lifetime revenue as of 2019. The Final Fantasy video game series has been both critically and commercially successful, selling more than 154.5 million software units worldwide, making it one of the best-selling video game franchises of all time. The series is well known for its innovation, visuals, and music, such as the inclusion of full-motion videos, FMVs, photorealistic character models, and music by Nobuo Uematsu. It has popularized many features now common in role-playing games, also popularizing the genre as a whole in markets outside Japan. Number 7. Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a first-person shooter video game franchise published by Activision. Starting out in 2003, it first focused on games set in World War II. However, over time, the series has seen games set in modern times, the midst of the Cold War, futuristic worlds, and outer space. The games were first developed by Infinity Ward, then also by Treyarch and Sledgehammer Games. Several spin-off and handheld games were made by other developers. The most recent title, Call of Duty: Modern Warfare, was released on October 25, 2019. The series originally focused on the World War II setting, with Infinity Ward developing the first 2003 and second 2005 titles in the series and Treyarch developing the third 2006. Call of Duty 4. Modern Warfare 2007 introduced a new modern setting and proved to be the breakthrough title for the series, creating the Modern Warfare sub-series. The game's legacy also influenced the creation of a remastered version, released in 2016. Two other entries, Modern Warfare 2, 2009, and 3, 2011, were made. The sub-series received a soft reboot with Modern Warfare in 2019. Infinity Ward have also developed two games outside of the Modern Warfare sub-series, Ghosts, 2013, and Infinite Warfare, 2016. Treyarch made one last World War II-based game, World at War, 2008, before releasing Black Ops, 2010, and subsequently creating the Black Ops sub-series. Three other entries, Black Ops 2, 2012, 3, 2015, and 4, 2018, were made. Sledgehammer Games, who were co-developers for Modern Warfare 3, have also developed two titles, Advanced Warfare, 2014, and World War II, 2017. As of February 2016, the series has sold over 250 million copies. Sales of all Call of Duty games topped US $15 billion. Number 6. Angry Birds. Angry Birds, later remarketed as Angry Birds Classic, is a 2009 casual puzzle video game developed by Rovio Entertainment. Inspired primarily by a sketch of stylized wingless birds, the game was first released for iOS and MeMo devices in December 2009. Since that time, over 12 million copies of the game have been purchased from the iOS App Store, which prompted the developer to design versions for other touchscreen-based smartphones, most notably Android, Symbian, Windows Phone, and BlackBerry 10 devices. The series has since expanded to include titles for dedicated video game consoles and PCs. A sequel, Angry Birds 2, was released in July 2015 for iOS and Android. The Gamma player evolves around players using a slingshot to launch birds at pigs stationed in or around various structures, with the goal of destroying all the pigs on the playing field. As players advance through the game, new types of birds become available, some with special abilities that can be activated by the player. Rovio Mobile has supported Angry Birds with numerous free updates that add additional game content, and the company has also released standalone holiday and promotional versions of the game. The game's popularity has led to the release of Angry Birds games for personal computers and gaming consoles, created a market for merchandise featuring the Angry Birds characters, a 2016 feature-length animated film, a sequel to said film, and several seasons of television cartoons. The Angry Birds series had a combined tally of over 4 billion downloads across all platforms as of January 2018, including special editions. After its release, the original game was called one of the most mainstream games out in 2010, one of the great runaway hits of 2010, and the largest mobile app success the world has seen as of 2011. Number 5. Skyrim. It is an action role-playing video game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. It is the fifth main installment in the Elder Scrolls series, following the Elder Scrolls IV, Oblivion, and was released worldwide for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360 on November 11, 2011. The game's main story revolves around the player's character, the Dragonborn, on their quest to defeat Alduin the World Eater, a dragon who is prophesied to destroy the world. The game is set 200 years after the events of Oblivion and takes place in Skyrim, the northernmost province of Tamriel. The game was released to critical acclaim, with reviewers particularly mentioning the character advancement and setting, and is considered to be one of the greatest video games of all time. Nonetheless, it received some criticism, predominantly for its melee combat and numerous technical issues present at launch. The game shipped over 7 million copies to retailers within the first week of its release, and over 30 million copies on all platforms as of November 2016, making it one of the best-selling video games in history. 3 downloadable content, DLC, add-ons were released: Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn, which were repackaged into the Elder Scrolls V. Skyrim Legendary Edition and released in June 2013. The Elder Scrolls V. Skyrim Special Edition is a remastered version of the game released for Windows, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 in October 2016. It includes all 3 DLC expansions and a graphical upgrade, along with additional features such as modding capabilities on consoles. Versions were released in November 2017 for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation VR, and a standalone virtual reality (VR) version for Windows was released in April 2018. These versions were based on the remastered release, but the Switch version's graphics upgrade was relative to its hardware capabilities, and it did not include the modding features. Number 4. Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, GTA, is a series of action-adventure games created by David Jones and Mike Daly. Later titles were developed under the oversight of brothers Dan and Sam Houser, Leslie Benzies and Aaron Garbett. It is primarily developed by British development house Rockstar North, formerly DMA Design, and published by its parent company, Rockstar Games. The name of the series references the term Grand Theft Auto, used in the United States for motor vehicle theft. Most games in the series are set in fictional locales modeled on cities, usually either Liberty City, Vice City or San Andreas, which are stand-ins for New York City, Miami and the state of California, respectively. The first game encompassed 3 fictional cities, while subsequent titles tend to emphasize a single setting. Gameplay focuses on an open world where the player can choose missions to progress an overall story, as well as engaging in side activities, all consisting of action-adventure, driving, third-person shooting, carjacking, occasional role-playing, stealth and racing elements. The series focuses on many different protagonists who attempt to rise through the ranks of the criminal underworld, although their motives for doing so vary in each game. Film and music veterans have voiced characters, including Ray Liotta, Dennis Hopper, Samuel L. Jackson, James Woods, Debbie Harry, Axl Rose and Peter Fonda. DMA Design began the series in 1997 with the release of the Grand Theft Auto. As of 2019, the series has 11 stand-alone games and 4 expansion packs. The third chronological title, Grand Theft Auto III, is considered a landmark title, as it brought the series to a 3-dimensional, 3D, setting and more immersive experience. The series has been critically acclaimed and commercially successful, having shipped more than 280 million units, with an estimated gross revenue of over $9 billion. Making it the 4th highest-selling video game franchise of all time, behind Nintendo's Mario and Pacman franchises and Tetris. In 2006, Grand Theft Auto was featured in a list of British design icons in the Great British Design Quest, organized by the BBC and the Design Museum. In 2013, The Telegraph ranked Grand Theft Auto among Britain's most successful exports. The series has also been controversial for its adult nature and violent themes. Number 3. World of Warcraft. It is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, MMORPG, released in 2004 by Blizzard Entertainment. It is the 4th released game set in the Warcraft fantasy universe. World of Warcraft takes place within the Warcraft world of Azeroth, approximately 4 years after the events at the conclusion of Blizzard's previous Warcraft release, Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne. The game was announced in 2001 and was released for the 10th anniversary of the Warcraft franchise on November 23, 2004. Since launch, World of Warcraft has had 8 major expansion packs produced for it: The Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, Legion, Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands. World of Warcraft was the world's most popular MMORPG by player count of nearly 10 million in 2009. The game had a total of over 100 million registered accounts by 2014. By 2017, the game had grossed over $9.23 billion in revenue, making it one of the highest-grossing video game franchises of all time. At BlizzCon 2017, a vanilla version of the game titled World of Warcraft Classic was announced, which planned to provide a way to experience the base game before any of its expansions launched. It was released in August 2019. CounterStrike is a series of multiplayer first-person shooter video games in which teams of terrorists battle to perpetrate an act of terror, while counter-terrorists try to prevent it: bomb defusal, hostage rescue. The series began on Windows in 1999 with the release of the first game, CounterStrike. It was initially released as a modification mod for Half-Life that was designed by Min Guzmanla and Jess Cliff. Before the rights to the mod's intellectual property were acquired by Valve, the developers of Half-Life, who then turned Counter-Strike into a retail product. The original Counter-Strike was followed by Counter-Strike: Condition Zero, developed by Turtle Rock Studios and released in March 2004. A previous version of Condition Zero that was developed by Ritual Entertainment was released alongside it as Condition Zero: Deleted Scenes. 8 months later, Valve released Counter-Strike: Source, a remake of the original Counter-Strike and the first in the series to run on Valve's newly created Source engine. The fourth game in the main series, Counter-Strike: Global Offensive, was released by Valve in 2012 for Windows, OS X, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. Hidden Path Entertainment, who worked on Counter-Strike: Source post-release, helped to develop the game alongside Valve. There have been several third-party spin-off titles created for Asian markets over the years. These include the Counter-Strike Online series, Counter-Strike Neo, and Counter-Strike Nexon Studio. And the final. Number 1. Minecraft. It is a video game developed by Mojang and created by Marcus Notch Persson in the Java programming language and was released as a public alpha for personal computers in 2009 before officially releasing in November 2011, with Jens Bergensten taking over development around then. It has since been ported to various platforms and is the best-selling video game of all time, with 180 million copies sold across all platforms and 112 million monthly active users as of 2019. In Minecraft, players explore a blocky, procedurally generated 3D world and may discover and extract raw materials, craft tools, build structures or earthworks, and depending on game mode, can fight computer-controlled mobs, as well as either cooperate with or compete against other players in the same world. These modes include a survival mode, in which players must acquire resources to build the world and maintain health, and a creative mode, where players have unlimited resources. Players can modify the game to create new gameplay mechanics, items, and assets. Minecraft has been critically acclaimed, winning several awards and being cited as one of the greatest and most influential video games of all time. Social media, parodies, adaptations, merchandise, and the annual Minecon conventions played large roles in popularizing the game. It has also been used in educational environments, especially in the realm of computing systems, as virtual computers and hardware devices have been built in it. In 2014, Mojang and the Minecraft intellectual property were purchased by Microsoft for US $2.5 billion. A number of spin-off games have also been produced, such as Minecraft Story Mode, Minecraft Dungeons, and Minecraft Earth.